Hey guys, what is up? It is Cedar Flags here, and welcome to a special video of mine. So, a couple weeks ago, I officially reached 500 subscribers, which is absolutely incredible, which I just can't believe that happened. 500 subscribers, that is a lot of people. So I remember, when I went up to 100 subscribers, and I said, maybe at 500 subscribers, I will do a special on how I became a roller coaster enthusiast. So that's where I am today, and I would like to tell you guys a story of my life and how I became the enthusiast and coaster nerd that I am today. I believe the story starts around 2006 or 2007 when my mom worked during the day and my dad worked during the night at two different places. In the summer, my dad babysat me as a stay-at-home dad while my mom was working, and my dad, when the weather was bad, he said he wanted to play a couple PC games with me. So he bought a couple games, and one of the games was Roller Coaster Tycoon, and we played that a lot. As I mentioned, my dad worked midnight, so sometimes when he slept, I used to play Roller Coaster Tycoon when he was sleeping, and eventually that led me to looking up roller coaster POVs because I was really into these roller coaster designs that I came up with on the game. So I looked up these POVs on YouTube channels like Coaster Image. That was a big channel back in the day when YouTube was first starting up, and there were a couple other channels that showed lists of the top 10 roller coasters, and it was a pretty good time. I usually just watched roller coaster videos. At the time, Geauga Lake existed, so my dad always said we should go to Geauga Lake when I'm older. So my dad said we're going to Disney World instead because I was really young at the time. So our family, my mom's side of the family at least, we all went to Disney World. Magic Kingdom is where I rode my first ever roller coaster, the Barnstormer, with my mom, who is not the biggest fan of roller coasters, so she was holding on for dear life. And I was 5, so I had a pretty enjoyable experience on it. So then I rode my first, not kiddie roller coaster, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad with my dad. It was a very long wait, but it was a very, very, very fun ride. It, for some reason, reminded me of Hot Wheels, which was probably the highlight of my Disney World trip. The second I got home, I did nothing but think of roller coasters and roller coaster POVs. Every time I rode my bike outside, I was just thinking of how big these roller coasters are. Another park that was very interesting to me is Cedar Point. I live 2 hours away from it, and I just have to say, I was always obsessed with that place. All those rides on this peninsula in Lake Erie, it always baffled me. It always blew my mind. And I remember the year Maverick opened up, my dad showed me a POV of Maverick, and I was so shocked by that 95-degree drop. I'm like, I need to get on that someday. So me and my family, one time we went to this one place called Great Wolf Lodge. It's in Sandusky, and that was the first time I saw Cedar Point. We had a room that faced right at Cedar Point, and I remember just dying to go to Cedar Point. When I saw those roller coasters up there, I looked at my mom and dad and said, we need to go there someday. So a couple months later, I saw this documentary called Extreme Terror Rides, which was on the Travel Channel, and that even got me even more into roller coasters. It showed me Kingda Ka, which I always called a ripoff of Top Thrill Dragster, and I was right. So I was always obsessed with Cedar Point more than I was with any other park. I always looked at POVs of Cedar Point. I was always obsessed with rides like Top Thrill Dragster and Maverick and Millennium Force. Those 3 rides I needed to ride. For some reason, I was obsessed with Mean Streak a lot for some stupid reason. And I was always obsessed with Blue Streak because at the time, that was one of the biggest roller coasters that I was tall enough to ride. So a couple years pass, and we go to Kennywood, which is a very small park in West Mifflin, Pennsylvania. It has amazing charm. And at the time, there was this ride called the Pitfall, and I rode that, and that was an insane ride. It's not there anymore, but it was an intimate, I think, second-generation tower. It was over 250 feet tall, and 8-year-old me screamed on that thing. It was worth it, though. It was pretty fun. It was either 2011 or 2012 where I went to Kennywood the second time, and I finally got to ride Phantom's Revenge. And I have to say, at the time, that was easily my favorite roller coaster. It was insane. It was awesome. It was one heck of a thrill, and I just adored it for a couple years. And then I finally got to go to Cedar Point for the first time in 2013. My first big ride was Gatekeeper, and I worked my way throughout the park. I rode Dragster, I rode a lot of rides. Maverick had a very long line, so I just kind of skipped that. And the final ride of the night was Millennium Force. I was ready. All these years of preparation comes up to this point, and I get on it, and it was easily the best roller coaster I have ever ridden by far. It completely crushes the other rides that I have aforementioned. So later that year in 2013, I was going into my 6th grade year, and they announced that they're going to have a science fair. Every 6th grade class had to do a science fair, which I really thought nothing too much about until I saw this project about roller coaster physics that I had to do. Now, science fair is, it sounds pretty boring, but I had a lot of fun out of this. We actually tested a roller coaster loop to see the physics and weight, and it was just a very fun project to do with my parents. So when we finally presented, I was a little nervous, but it was an absolute thrill when I realized I was moving on to my local science fair to face off people from all around the area. So I went to the university in downtown, and I faced off all those people, and then they announced the people who are going to Ohio State University for the finals. And guess who got called? That's right, I did. So me and like 3 other students from my school go to Ohio State University, and we stay in a hotel. It was a very fun experience. In fact, I actually, no lies, got 2nd place in the state for physics out of thousands of people. And I would say the rest of the top 10 was high school groups. And look at me, little 6th grade Nick. That was like a life-changing experience for me because it kind of opened my eyes to see that I want to get into roller coasters in the future. I discovered this YouTube channel called The Coaster Guy, and he had a little bit of a small following. I think at the time he had like a couple hundred subscribers, and he eventually turned into this small YouTuber that's now known as Coaster Studios, which I'm glad that I kind of grew up with his channel. His channel was a real inspiration to create my YouTube channel. And in late 2014, I started my YouTube account. It was originally called Coaster Flicks, and it turned into Cedar Flags. So here's where I am today. I went to a STEM high school, and now I'm going into junior year to an engineering high school near my area. And I am so excited for that because someday I really want to make it into the amusement park industry, whether that is a general manager or some roller coaster engineer or someone who makes fences, I guess. I don't freaking know. I just really want to get into the roller coaster industry. That would be my all-time goal. But if it's not that, it's probably civil or mechanical engineering. Definitely. I definitely want to get into that engineering field, and I am so excited for what the future holds. I'm having bright thoughts, and I really hope someday I get to achieve my goal. I hope I'm at least a little bit of an inspiration to some of you to starting a YouTube channel or becoming a coaster enthusiast or doing something like that. I know I'm not going to be the next Taylor Bybee, but this following is pretty cool. It seems like I have a little bit of a cult following, which really warms my heart to see that every time I go into some group chat or comment on someone's post, everyone is like, holy crap, it's Cedar Flags, which really just warms my heart up. It's a pretty fun feeling to have. So I love being a coaster enthusiast. There is no other following in the world that I would want to be a part of. I live, eat, sleep, breathe roller coasters. And if you know me, then you know how much I love these things. This is Cedar Flags. I'm 16, currently going into my junior year of high school. It is June of 2018, and I will see you guys later.